by two-digit multiplication, problems by rounding the factors to the multiples of 10. Okay? So we really need to unpack that objective. What is it really telling us? Right? Because there's a lot going on here. So we, like we talked about in our morning work this morning, we're going to be working on estimating products. Okay? And we've already talked about estimating, right? We've already learned how to estimate and use strategies like rounding to get an answer that's close to our actual answer, right? So when we look at two-digit by two-digit multiplication, right, we really want to look at how we can round the factors. Okay, what are factors? Raise your hand, tell me. What are factors?
Factors are numbers.
They are what?
Numbers.
Okay, what kind of numbers? Yes, they're numbers. Yes, Rania. Yes, numbers that you multiply together in a multiplication problem, right? Very good. Now we're multiples. We're rounding to the multiples of 10. Max.
Multiples are like, the multiples of 10 are 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, and so on and so on.
Okay, good. So what does that mean? What are you doing there, Max?
I'm counting by 10.
Good.
Same with like, if you're counting by a different number, you keep on doing like the number plus the number plus the number plus the number.
Exactly. Good. So it's kind of like we're skip counting, right? Is that what you're going to say, Tayshawn? Excellent. So we're going to be rounding to the multiples of 10 to make our problems easier to solve. So we've already really got a lot of background knowledge about this skill. So we can use that when we're working today. Okay? Why is it important to be able to estimate? Why is it important as a skill in 4th grade to be able to estimate to find an answer? Cohen.
Because you're not going to always be able to use the strategies that you know, so you might need to estimate to try to get an answer around the answer that you used to get the exact.
Very good. So there are some times when you're going to approach a strategy, right? We've talked about using a lot of different strategies to solve. There are some times where you're going to solve something and you're going to know this is not a reasonable answer, right? This is not going to be close to the actual answer. But, like Cohen said, we can use estimating, right, and estimate to find an answer that's close to our actual answer to figure out whether or not we are correct, right? Excellent, excellent job. And we see this all the time in the real world. Where do we see this in the real world? Where do we see estimating in our everyday lives? We talked about when you go to a football game, right? What did we say about a football game? And the announcer over the intercom, what does he say? Talking about how many people are attending. Larry, what does he say? Right, would he say an exact answer like that for telling everybody how many people were there? No, he would give an estimated answer, right? So that's where we can see, and there's always a time to be able to estimate, okay? So if we take a look at our anchor chart, eyes up here, okay? We have a little launch problem that we need to solve, okay? So 4th graders, okay? 4th graders are kind of competing with 5th graders. So 4th graders picked 30 dozen apples at the apple grove. The 5th grade students picked 37 dozen apples. If there are 12 apples in a dozen, about how many total apples were picked? Okay, so what is this problem asking us to find? Malik, what does it want us to find? Careful, not 12 times 7, don't jump ahead. Careful, what is it asking us to find? What is the question that they want us to figure out? I'll give you some think time, go ahead. It's not just going to come out of thin air. You got to look at the word problem. What's it asking us to find? It's okay. What do you think? Tayshawn? Oh, good. So you're picking out that word about. About how many what? information here that's important to solve. So what other information is going to help us solve the problem? Lindsay, what information is important for us to pick out in order to solve?
Pardon the interruption, Ms. Colgrove.
Yes?
Children, is Miracle on her way out?
She is with Miss Snyder.
Oh, I'm sorry.
That's okay. So what do you think, Lindsay? What numbers? What's important? What information do we need to pick out here that's going to help us solve? Yes, 30 dozen apples were picked by 4th graders, right? And Samaya, how many dozen apples were picked by the 5th graders? 37 dozen apples. Very good. So, how many total dozen apples were picked combined with 4th grade and 5th grade together? Don't have to tell me the answer, but I want you to tell me how you would figure that out, Larry. Okay, so you're telling me you want to add 37 dozen plus 30 dozen? You're absolutely right. Excellent. So we have to think, how many dozen apples were picked? Well, we can figure that out by adding 37 plus 30. Now, mental math. Okay, what is that answer? What is the sum? Lavania. It's 67. So if we know that there were 67 dozen apples picked, how many apples are in 1 dozen? Anna, there are 12 apples in 1 dozen. So if we know that there are 67 dozen apples, how could we figure out how many total apples there were? Let's see.
We could multiply 67 times 12.
67 times 12. Now, do we want an exact answer? Amir, do we want an exact answer? No. Why not? What does it say in the word problem that tells us? Perfect. That about tells us that we don't want an exact answer. So we can round to estimate to find our product, right? We are amazing at rounding, right? So think about underlining our digit that we're rounding to. Okay, what place value do you think we're going to round to, Justin? In both numbers. So you think we're going to round to the ones? Okay, Tayshawn, you need to raise your hand. You have something to say.
Ms. Colgrove,
Yes?
can I ask Kalia for dismissal?
Sure.
Thanks.
I have to
Wait, eyes over here. Amir, have a seat. So Justin said we need to round to the ones place. Will that give us the most approximate answer? Or the best estimated answer? Ranye, what do you think? Do you agree with Justin or do you disagree? I'm sorry? You disagree? You agree, so you think the ones. Okay, who disagrees with Ranye and Justin and thinks otherwise? Justin, Jordan, sorry. What do you think? Why do you disagree with them? Rounding to the ones place. What would be a better place value to round to? What do you think, Jordan? The tens. And why? You're absolutely right. Why would it be more reasonable to round to the tens place in both digits? Can I round to my ones place? Casey, what do you think?
We can't round to the ones place because there's no more numbers behind it to round to the ones place.
Exactly. We can't round to the ones place because remember, we underline the digit that we're rounding to, right? And draw an arrow to our nosy neighbor to the right, right? We don't want to see if it's close to 0 or 10. We want to figure out, is this closer to 60 or 70? What do you think? nosy neighbor. So I draw my arrow to my nosy neighbor to my 7. Yeah, what does that 6 become? Very good. That 6 becomes a 7, right? What happens to everything after that underlined digit? I'm looking at you, Mateo. What do you think? What happens to everything after that 7? It becomes a 0. Excellent. So 67 rounds to 70. What does 12 round to? Is that close to 10? Or is that close to 20? Poet.
It is close to more 10.
It is close to the 10, right? Because if I draw my arrow to my nosy neighbor to the right, my 2 is 4 and below, let it go. So that 1 stays the same, right? So now, have I made this easier to multiply, Tayshawn? Have I made this easier to multiply? Yeah, good. So how can I use what I know about mental math in order to multiply? Autumn, thank you for your quiet hand. 7 times 1, very good, is 7, right? And I have 2 zeros to make it 700. Excellent. So do we see now how estimating has made it easier to multiply? Very good. Okay, the second, have a seat. On your bottom, please. Not done yet. Okay, I am going to give you a chance to come to small group with a ticket. This is your ticket to small group tonight. Okay? So you have to critique Jacob's reasoning. Okay? So this is mathematical practice number 3, being able to critique the reasoning of others. I need you to put your hand down, please, so I can read the problem. Jacob said he used rounding to estimate 35 times 42. So you will all have that problem on your card. But Jacob said that his product was 1,200. Do you agree with his answer?
I disagree.
Okay, and if you disagree, you have to tell me why. Okay, so using what you know about estimating products, this is your ticket to small group. So when you get your ticket, you may go back to your seats and start working so I can call students to wash their hands. Okay, questions about what you're doing? So Jacob said it's 1,200. Was he right?
No.
If not, prove why he is not right. Okay? You may do that on the back. As soon as you get your ticket, you may quietly go back to your seat. I am looking for students who